Ladies and gentlemen, strategy is at the heart of every great victory, and when we look at the profound possibility of India and Israel joining hands to reclaim POK, we must appreciate that this is not merely a political maneuver. It is a deeply thought-out plan born of wisdom, resilience, and unwavering commitment to a higher purpose. Strategy is not just the blueprint that lays out each action, it is also the mindset that fuels every step forward. Throughout history, nations that rise up to reclaim what is rightfully theirs do so because they believe in something greater than themselves. They recognize that careful planning combined with steadfast faith can overcome obstacles that seem impossible at first glance. A strong strategy takes into account every detail: the terrain, the political landscape, the partnerships that must be formed, and the timing that must align perfectly. When you speak of India and Israel working together toward this goal, it is a reflection of deep understanding. Both nations know what it means to face adversity. Both have stood against forces that sought to intimidate or divide them. That shared experience becomes the backbone of their plan, and their commitment to justice reinforces their strategy with moral and spiritual strength. When a strategy is grounded in faith, it also becomes resilient. Even if the world looks on with skepticism or fear, that faith reminds us that the outcome is already decided in God's hands. Every great historical victory was once a whisper, a dream that could have been silenced by fear or uncertainty, but strategy is what takes that dream and turns it into deliberate action. It is the daily discipline of moving toward the goal, making the necessary preparations, forging strong alliances, and choosing the right moment to move forward. In this case, India and Israel do not simply wait passively for change. They act with purpose, knowing that the plan they have conceived is a sign of their commitment to justice and freedom. There is also a profound lesson here for everyone listening. Even if you are not reclaiming a territory, you too can apply this kind of strategy to your personal battles. Just as these two great nations plan carefully and act wisely, you must also strategize for your own breakthroughs. Every difficult situation you face requires more than wishing. It requires you to map out the path, trust that God will illuminate the way, and take one decisive step after another. Remember that strategy is not fear-driven, it is faith-driven. It requires discipline, patience, and the ability to keep your focus when obstacles appear. And this is the call to action for all who dare to believe in their purpose. Speak the word over your strategy every day. Let your plan be guided by wisdom and sustained by prayer. When you face resistance, do not give up. Instead, lean into the strength that divine guidance provides. Trust that God will help you navigate the most complex challenges if you choose to rise up and follow the plan set before you. Stand with your convictions. Align yourself with those who support your mission. Prepare well. Move with purpose. Let strategy be the vessel through which your faith becomes action. And as you do so, remember that even the most impossible goals can be achieved by those who refuse to quit. The power of strategy lies not just in tactics but in belief, in the unbreakable conviction that with God's help, every carefully thought-out plan can become a reality. That is the path to reclaiming what matters most. That is how you rise. Alliance is one of the most powerful forces that shapes history and future destinies. When we speak about India and Israel coming together with a secret plan to reclaim POK, we are really talking about the immense strength that emerges when two determined nations stand shoulder to shoulder. Alliance is more than just a formal agreement. It is a deep mutual commitment to something greater than either party could achieve alone. It is built on respect, shared values, and the belief that together they can face any challenge that lies ahead. When India and Israel come together, they do so knowing that their combined strength is a direct answer to the threats they face. Throughout history, these two countries have proven that they will not bow down to intimidation. Instead, they choose to stand as one, knowing that their unity multiplies their power. Every successful alliance rests on a foundation of trust, and trust is born of shared struggle and common purpose. Both India and Israel have a profound understanding of this. They know what it feels like to fight for their land, their people, and their future. That is what drives them to support one another with an unyielding commitment. Alliance is also about the kind of strength that cannot be measured by mere weapons or numbers. It is about the spiritual resolve that grows stronger when two nations pray, plan, and act together. When one country is weary, the other steps in to uplift. When one is tested, the other becomes a source of encouragement and strategy. That is the beauty of true alliance. It is not one-sided or transactional. It is rooted in the belief that their destinies are intertwined. Even the most difficult missions become possible when people recognize that they do not stand alone. And here is the deeper lesson. True alliance carries the power of faith. It reminds us that the most powerful bonds are not built solely on politics or tactical agreements, but on the certainty that God's purpose will prevail. An alliance like this doesn't just happen. It is forged with prayer, patience, and resilience. It grows when both sides understand that they must remain steadfast even when circumstances appear dark. This is precisely why an alliance can endure decades of hardship or obstacles that would seem impossible to overcome. The alliance between India and Israel reflects this very spirit. It is an unshakable partnership built on strength, faith, and mutual respect, and this can inspire us personally. Maybe you are not making international plans or reclaiming territory, but the principle is the same. The people you choose to align yourself with matter. When you choose to stand with people who uplift you, believe in you, and fight for you, you tap into a well of strength that cannot be accessed on your own. Whether in your family, your friendships, or your faith community, alliances matter because they shape your path and your future. Seek out those who believe in what you believe. Surround yourself with those who encourage your purpose. Stand together in prayer and speak the word over every plan you make. This is also a call to action. Trust that God honors every alliance built on integrity and faith. Whether you are moving toward a national goal or pursuing your personal dreams, know that you will go further together than you ever could alone. Build your alliances carefully. Strengthen those bonds daily. Let each member of your alliance draw power and courage from the other. And most importantly, remember that when God is at the center of any alliance, nothing can defeat the vision you hold. Stand united, speak the word, and walk boldly toward your victory. Resilience is the unbreakable spirit that rises after every setback, the quiet strength that keeps moving forward no matter how difficult the journey becomes. When we speak of India and Israel's secret plan to reclaim POK, we are also talking about the incredible resilience that lies at the core of their alliance. Both of these nations have faced some of the most daunting challenges in history: wars, oppression, international pressure, and trials that could have shattered their resolve. But they never gave up. Resilience is not just endurance, it's the deep-seated conviction that their purpose is greater than their pain and that their vision will one day become reality. This kind of resilience cannot be manufactured overnight. It is cultivated through years of hardship, discipline, and unwavering belief. India, with its centuries of struggle against colonialism and its hard-won independence, knows what it means to fight for sovereignty. Israel, too, has survived against all odds since its birth, surrounded by adversaries and yet flourishing because it has refused to be defeated. Both nations have proven time and again that they do not back down in the face of opposition. That is why their plan is more than a political move. It is the expression of an enduring spirit that will not accept anything less than freedom and justice. Resilience also thrives on faith. It is built on the understanding that the outcome is already written by a higher power, that when you stand firm and refuse to waver, you draw strength that cannot be measured. Even when obstacles seem impossible, the resilient do not quit because they believe that God has a purpose in their struggle. They recognize that every delay, every setback, is shaping them into something stronger and wiser. That is what keeps them moving through the dark valleys of uncertainty with the light of divine guidance to illuminate their path. And resilience is also contagious. When one nation, one person, or one heart decides to keep going despite the odds, it inspires everyone around them to do the same. The alliance between India and Israel is built on this kind of mutual encouragement. They recognize resilience in one another, and they draw power from it. Together, they stand taller because they have witnessed each other rise after every challenge. That is the real power of resilience in action, knowing that, together, they can face any storm and come out stronger on the other side. And the beautiful truth is that this same resilience can take root in you. Even if you are not part of a grand alliance or a historical mission, you face battles every day that test your endurance. You can choose to rise up the way these nations have, knowing that your struggle is never in vain. Speak the word over your life every morning. Trust that God will give you strength you never thought you had. Let each setback shape you into someone who cannot be shaken by fear or failure. Keep going even when the road is long and difficult, because resilience is built one courageous step at a time. That is your call to action to embrace resilience as a way of life. Do not shrink back when faced with hardship. Do not give up on your purpose, your calling, or your future. Stand your ground and hold fast to the promises that God has already spoken. Let your resilience be a light to others, a testimony to the power of endurance rooted in faith. And just like the alliance between India and Israel, let your inner strength grow so deep that you know nothing can defeat you. This is the instant power of divine healing at work, bringing you the resilience to rise again and again until you see your victory fulfilled. Faith is the powerful foundation that holds everything together when the world around you is uncertain, and it's what drives people and nations to take bold action, even when the odds seem impossible. When we talk about India and Israel's secret plan to reclaim POK, we are really talking about a deep, seated faith in a higher purpose, faith in the righteousness of their cause, and faith that they will prevail no matter the obstacles they face. Without this unwavering faith, such a plan would never have taken shape, let alone begun to bear fruit. Both India and Israel have been shaped by histories of struggle, survival, and rebirth. They understand what it means to face overwhelming opposition and to move forward anyway. What keeps them going is not just strategic alliances or military might. It is faith that they have been placed on this path for a reason. Faith gives them the strength to look beyond the present hardships and see the greater vision for their future. It reminds them that even when things appear daunting, they can trust that they will be guided toward victory. Faith is also a powerful force that unites people, and that is what lies at the heart of this alliance. Every soldier, every leader, and every citizen invested in this cause must believe that they are part of something greater than themselves. They must trust that the plan will come together according to a divine will, and that their commitment is not in vain. Even when faced with delays, distractions, or dissenting voices, they must choose to hold on to their faith. That is where true strength is forged in the moments when it would be easier to give up, but they press on anyway. And that same faith speaks to all of us personally. Whether you are dealing with your own private battles or facing situations that feel too big to overcome, the message is the same. Faith moves mountains. You may not see the full picture right away. You may feel uncertain or even scared about what lies ahead. But when you choose to put your trust in a power greater than yourself, you gain a strength that cannot be shaken. That is why faith is more than a feeling. It is a daily practice. It is waking up every morning and declaring, "I believe there is a plan for my life," even before you see any evidence that it is working. That is exactly what India and Israel demonstrate, that true faith is active and persistent. It is not passive or aggressive. It is courageous and resilient. Every action they take toward reclaiming POK stems from a belief that they are fulfilling a higher calling, one that goes beyond political or historical ambitions. They believe that their steps, no matter how difficult or contested, are guided by a divine hand that sees the end from the beginning. And you too can live that way. You can embrace the kind of unshakable faith that doesn't waver at the first sign of trouble. Let every setback become an opportunity to trust even more deeply. Let every challenge remind you that the same God who guided these nations can guide your own path. Stand firm in your decisions, speak the word over your circumstances, and believe that every step you take in faith is leading you to the victory you were created for. Your call to action is this: don't wait to see all the pieces come together before you believe. Trust that your purpose is unfolding one step at a time. Speak life over your dreams. Refuse to let fear or doubt take root. Have the kind of faith that refuses to quit, because just like these two nations who believe they will reclaim what is rightfully theirs, you too can reclaim your destiny with the unstoppable power of divine healing and unwavering faith. Sovereignty is more than just control over land or the right to self-rule. It is the sacred principle that a people have a God, given authority to shape their own destiny without outside interference. When we speak of India and Israel's secret plan to reclaim POK, we are looking at a profound commitment to reclaim their sovereignty, to stand firm in their sense of purpose, history, and Godor, aimed rights over the territories they believe belong to them. This is not a mere political strategy. It is an expression of their unwavering resolve to assert their national will and protect the future of their people. Both India and Israel have histories marked by hard-won independence. They have paid a steep price for their freedom, shedding blood and enduring hardships that have only deepened their commitment to remain true to their principles. Sovereignty is not an optional luxury for them, it is at the very core of their identity. Every decision they make is shaped by a belief that they are responsible for safeguarding their territories and protecting the sacred trust handed down to them by their forebears. This is why the question of reclaiming POK cannot simply be set aside. It is intertwined with their sense of who they are as nations and their unyielding commitment to self-determination. That level of resolve can only come from a deep and enduring faith. When a nation is grounded in its own sense of purpose, and when its leaders and citizens truly believe they are called to something greater than themselves, they cannot be easily swayed by obstacles or opposition. They move forward with the unshakable conviction that their cause is just and that the outcome is assured even if the path is long or difficult. Sovereignty in this sense becomes an act of stewardship, a way of honoring the generations before them and preparing a stronger, freer future for those who will come after. And this is where we see the connection to our own personal journeys. Sovereignty is also about knowing that your life is not meant to be dictated by the fears, expectations, or negativity of others. It's the decision to take ownership of your calling and to trust that the one who created you placed purpose inside you that cannot be taken away. When you choose to embrace that divine authority over your own path, you begin to live in a way that reflects the dignity, strength, and resilience that come from knowing you were made to prevail. When you understand your own personal sovereignty, you begin to recognize that you have the power to draw the boundaries of your own life. You refuse to allow anyone or anything to steal your peace, your joy, or your sense of self-worth. It means you stop settling for less than what you know you deserve and start moving toward what you were created for. Just as India and Israel refuse to relinquish their rightful claims, you must refuse to give up the pieces of your life that matter most: your dreams, your faith, your integrity. Your call to action is this: embrace the full weight of your personal sovereignty. Take charge of your future by choosing faith over fear, strength over passivity, and purpose over doubt. Speak the word over your life every morning and every night. Declare that your purpose is secure and that your heart is aligned with a greater plan. Stand in the same kind of quiet, powerful resolve that these nations embody. And remember that when you truly believe you were born to live a life of meaning, you will stop at nothing to reclaim every part of yourself because, like them, you recognize that true sovereignty is a gift from God that cannot be taken away. Hope is the quiet, unyielding force that keeps a nation moving forward even when the future looks uncertain. It is the light that burns steadily in the hearts of people who believe that their struggle, their endurance, and their sacrifice will one day lead them to the fulfillment of their purpose. When we speak of India and Israel's secret plan to reclaim POK, we are not simply talking about strategy, power, or politics. We are talking about a deeper hope that drives them toward their goal. This kind of hope is not fleeting. It is rooted in a profound trust that there is a higher plan at work, one that will honor their commitment to their people, their history, and their future. Both India and Israel have survived challenges that most nations cannot imagine. They have faced times of hardship and oppression. They have suffered losses, and they have witnessed trials that could have broken their spirits forever. But these are also the very experiences that have shaped their unbreakable hope. They have learned that true strength is born in the fire of struggle, and that hope is what gives them the courage to press on. It reminds them that even the most difficult chapters of their story do not determine their end, they simply prepare the way for a greater victory. That kind of hope cannot be manufactured or manipulated. It grows from a place of deep conviction that what they believe is right and what they fight for is part of a larger plan. When they look toward the future, they do not see only obstacles, they see opportunities. They believe that their efforts to reclaim POK are not about grasping for power, but about fulfilling a promise, one that is guided by a divine sense of justice and compassion. Hope tells them that no matter how long the road may be, they will not walk it alone. It is this kind of faith-filled hope that has sustained them through countless trials and that will continue to light their way. And this is where their story speaks directly to us. In our own lives, we also face situations that seem impossible to change. There may be circumstances that feel too daunting or goals that seem too far out of reach. But just like these nations, we have been given a powerful, God-given hope, one that whispers to us in our most difficult moments, telling us that better days are ahead if we dare to believe. It reminds us that even if we cannot see every detail of the plan unfolding before us, we can trust that God's hand is moving behind the scenes, orchestrating the outcome for our good. When we hold on to that kind of hope, we stop living as though we are defeated by the present and begin moving toward the future with strength and purpose. It allows us to make bold decisions, to take courageous action, and to keep going even when the path is steep. Hope becomes the steady anchor that keeps our hearts at peace as we wait for the promises we know will come. Your call to action is this: refuse to give up your hope, no matter what you face. Speak life into your own journey. Trust that God is making a way even when you cannot see it, and live as someone who expects victory. Let the story of India and Israel remind you that hope is more than a feeling. It is a powerful choice to believe that no struggle is wasted and that a better tomorrow is always within reach. Stand firm in that hope and let it carry you toward the purpose and victory you were created to embrace. Courage is the force that drives people and nations to do what others might see as impossible. It is not simply the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward even when fear is present. When we talk about India and Israel's secret plan to reclaim POK, we are seeing a vivid example of the kind of bold courage that shapes history, the kind that refuses to back down in the face of opposition, and that steps into uncertainty knowing that the path is guided by purpose. Both India and Israel have histories that are woven with trials and tests that would have shattered less determined people. They have faced threats, invasions, hardships, and loss. Yet, again and again, they rise not because the road is easy, but because they have embraced the deep conviction that their calling is greater than their fear. Courage for these nations is not a fleeting emotion, it is part of their very DNA. It is built into their collective spirit, nurtured by every challenge they have faced and every victory they have achieved against the odds. That kind of courage is not born from arrogance or impulsiveness. It comes from knowing who they are and what they stand for. It comes from trusting that their cause is just and that their people deserve to live with dignity and sovereignty. When you look at their pursuit to reclaim POK, you are seeing a commitment that goes beyond mere territory. It is a declaration that they will not bow to intimidation, nor will they sacrifice what they believe to be their birthright. Courage, in this sense, is a powerful refusal to be controlled by fear or manipulated into submission. And this is where their story becomes a powerful lesson for you and me. Every one of us faces situations where we must decide whether to shrink back or to move forward with boldness. Life will present you with obstacles that feel too big to overcome and with voices that tell you to settle or give up. But like these nations, you have a choice to stand strong in your purpose and act with courage, or to stay trapped in fear. Courage doesn't require you to have every answer or to see the full plan. It requires you to take the first faithful step, to speak the word of victory even when all you see is resistance, and to trust that each step will light the path ahead. Courage grows the moment you refuse to let fear do the talking. It grows every time you make a decision based on who you are called to be instead of who the world tells you to be. When you choose to believe that there is strength inside you that is greater than any outside challenge, you tap into a power that cannot be defeated. It is that power that will carry you through your most difficult seasons, just as courage carries these nations toward their future. Your call to action is this: embrace the same fearless spirit. Speak the word over your own life, declaring that you will not be limited by fear or defined by past struggles. Make the commitment to move toward your goals even if the outcome is not yet clear. Trust that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to walk forward anyway, strengthened by a faith that will never fail you. Stand firm, take heart, and believe that as you do, you will see every promise and every dream take shape before your eyes. Unity is the powerful force that binds hearts together and transforms a shared vision into a reality that cannot be ignored. It is more than a mere partnership of interests. It is a deep, unshakable commitment to standing together, moving as one, and drawing strength from each other's resolve. When you look at India and Israel and their secret plan to reclaim POK, what you truly see is the profound power of unity. This kind of unity is built on trust, respect, and a shared belief that together they can do what neither could do alone. Both India and Israel have long histories marked by struggle, perseverance, and the fight for self-determination. They come from different cultures, different geographies, and different histories, yet they have chosen to stand side by side. That is the true essence of unity, choosing to overlook differences in order to focus on the greater purpose. It is this choice to collaborate, to plan together, and to act together that multiplies their strength. Unity allows them to leverage their distinct talents, their unique experiences, and their individual strengths toward one shared goal. Every decision they make is stronger because they make it together. Every challenge they face is less daunting because they face it as one. This is what true unity looks like. It is not blind agreement. It is a conscious, deliberate commitment to stay connected even when challenges rise. India and Israel demonstrate that unity is not about losing identity, it is about enriching it. When two nations come together with mutual respect and a sense of common purpose, they can write a new chapter in history. It is a reminder to all of us that we are always stronger together. Whether in our personal lives, in our communities, or in our larger ambitions, it is unity that transforms dreams into plans and plans into action. And this lesson is not just for these two countries, it is for every one of us. Unity is a choice we must make every day in our families, our workplaces, and our circles of influence. When we stand together, we multiply our impact. When we choose to listen, to understand, and to support one another, we discover the incredible power of shared strength. That is what allows us to face the most impossible tasks without fear, knowing that we never walk alone. It is what enables us to tackle daunting goals, because unity gives us the endurance to press on when we grow tired. the wisdom to see solutions when problems seem insurmountable, and the encouragement to rise again when we stumble. Your call to action is this: recognize the power of unity in your own life, speak the word over your relationships and your endeavors, declare that you will stand together with those around you and that you will choose collaboration over division. Remember that when you come together with others, you do more than add your strength, you multiply it. Seek out partnerships that inspire you and friendships that challenge you to grow. Trust that God's hand is moving in every alliance built on faith and mutual respect. When you live in unity, you become an unstoppable force for good. That is the divine power that moves mountains, reclaims lost ground, and turns bold visions into glorious realities. Stand together, believe together, and move forward in the strength that only unity can give.